Hey, I'm Ethan. I'm 24, living in a cramped two-bedroom apartment just outside downtown with my best friend Daniel. We've been roommates for a couple of years now, splitting rent and takeout bills while navigating our early 20s. I'm a graphic designer working remotely for a startup that makes fitness apps, nothing glamorous, but it pays enough to keep me afloat. Daniel's a marketing assistant, always hustling, always talking about his next big break. Life with him is easy. We play video games, argue over who ate the last slice of pizza, and keep things low drama. It's the kind of routine that feels safe, even if it gets lonely sometimes when I'm staring at my laptop late at night wondering if this is all there is. Daniel's out of town right now, gone for 3 days on some work conference. The apartment feels weirdly quiet without him blasting music or leaving dishes in the sink. I'm not complaining though, I get the TV to myself and I've been catching up on a thriller series I've been hooked on. The place is nothing fancy, mismatched furniture, a coffee table we found on the curb, and a couple of dying plants Daniel insists on keeping alive. His mom, Mrs. Walker, comes by every now and then to water them or tidy up his old room, which is basically a storage closet now. She's 46 lives in a neat suburban house about 20 minutes away and has this way of making everything around her feel organized, I guess. I've met Mrs. Walker a few times. She's not like most moms I know. She's elegant, sharp, the kind of woman who walks into a room and owns it without trying. Always dressed like she's headed somewhere important, tailored blouses, sleek jeans, hair pulled back just right. Her voice is calm but firm, and she's got this quick wit that catches you off guard. The first time we met, I was eating cereal in my pajamas, and she just raised an eyebrow and said, "Please tell me you're keeping Daniel from living on instant noodles." I laughed, mumbled something stupid, and felt like a kid caught slacking. Since then, it's been polite hellos, maybe a quick chat about the weather or Daniel's latest antics. She's nice but distant, like she's got everything under control and doesn't need to get too close. There was this one moment, though, maybe a month ago, that stuck with me. She came by to drop off some of Daniel's old stuff books, a jacket, and caught me staring a bit too long as she sorted through the boxes. I didn't mean anything by it. She just has this presence. She looked up, smiled. This knowing smile and said, "Boys your age are always distracted." It wasn't flirty, but it left me flustered, my face hot as I pretended to check my phone. I brushed it off, told myself it was nothing. She's Daniel's mom, for God's sake. You don't think about your best friend's mom like that? But that moment lingered like a note you can't quite shake from a song. Anyway, tonight's just another night. It's 11 p.m., rain's tapping lightly on the windows, and I'm sprawled on the couch, half watching my show, half scrolling my phone. Daniel's gone, the apartment's quiet, and I'm ready to call it a night soon. That's when I hear a soft knock at the door. The knock startles me, soft but sharp against the quiet hum of the rain. I pause the TV, the thriller frozen on a shadowy frame, and glance at the clock, 11 p.m. Who the hell knocks this late? My first thought is a neighbor complaining about something, or maybe Daniel forgot his key and came back early. I drag myself off the couch, still in sweatpants and a faded t-shirt, and shuffle to the door. The rain's picking up outside, a steady drizzle, now pattering against the windows like it's trying to get in. I flip on the porch light and open the door, expecting anything but her. It's Mrs. Walker. She's standing there, raincoat glistening faintly under the dim light, her hair damp and clinging to her neck. No makeup, just her face raw and unguarded with a paper bag clutched in one hand. She looks different, not the polished, commanding woman I'm used to. Her eyes are tired, maybe a little lost, but there's something else in them, something real that makes my chest tighten. I blink, caught off guard. "Mrs. Walker, everything okay?" She gives a small smile, the kind that doesn't quite reach her eyes. "I was heading home," she says, her voice softer than usual, but then I thought, no one's there. So I swung by here. It sounds casual, like she's just stopping by for a chat, but her gaze holds mine a second too long, and it's not casual at all. My mouth goes dry. I don't know what to say, so I step aside. Come in. It's wet out there." She hesitates, then steps inside, brushing past me. Her raincoat drips a little on the floor, and I catch a faint whiff of her perfume mixed with the clean scent of rain. It's disorienting, like she's brought the storm inside with her. I close the door, suddenly hyper-aware of how small the apartment feels with just the two of us. "Let me take your coat," I offer, mostly to fill the silence. She shrugs it off, revealing a simple sweater and jeans, not her usual tailored look, but still somehow elegant. I hang the coat on a hook by the door, feeling like I'm stalling. She sets the paper bag on the coffee table and pulls out 2 small bottles of cider. "This is my kind of drink," she says, her voice light, but with an edge, like she's testing the air. Mild doesn't cause trouble. She hands me one, her fingers brushing mine for a split second. I flinch, not because it's intentional, but because it's her. My best friend's mom holding a cider in my living room at 11 p.m. This is not normal. Thanks, I mumble, twisting the cap off. I gesture to the couch, and we sit a careful distance between us, her on one end, me on the other. The TVs still pause the room, lit by its bluish glow and a single lamp in the corner. The rain's louder now, a steady rhythm outside. I take a sip, the cider crisp and faintly sweet, and try to act normal. So, you just felt like stopping by, I ask, instantly regretting how dumb it sounds. She laughs a low, quiet sound and leans back, cradling her bottle, something like that. Her eyes flicker to the TV, then back to me. I didn't feel like being alone tonight, and I remembered you were here. Her words hang in the air, simple but heavy. I nod, not sure what she's really saying, not sure I want to know. Daniel's gone till Wednesday, I say like she doesn't already know. Just me and the plants. She smiles again, this time softer, and takes a sip. Good. Those plants need someone to keep them alive. It's a joke, but it feels like a lifeline pulling us into safer territory. For a moment, we're just two people sharing a drink, not a 24-year-old guy and his friend's mom in a quiet apartment. But the air's charged. Like the rain outside is pressing against the walls, waiting for something to break. The cider's cool against my lips, but it does little to settle the nervous buzz in my chest. Mrs. Walker sits across from me on the couch, one leg tucked under her, the bottle cradled loosely in her hands. The TV's still paused its frozen scene, casting a dim glow over the room, but neither of us seems to care about it anymore. The rain outside has settled into a steady rhythm, a soft drumming that fills the silences between our words. We start with small talk, safe stuff, how the rain's making traffic a mess, how my thriller show's been keeping me up too late. She nods, smiles, asks about the plot like she's actually curious. It's easy, almost normal, but there's an undercurrent, like we're both tiptoeing around something neither of us wants to name. I take another sip, trying to keep my hands busy. So you just didn't want to go home? I ask, my voice lighter than I feel. She tilts her head, studying me for a moment, then sets her bottle on the coffee table. Home's quiet, she says, her tone matter of fact, but heavy. Too quiet sometimes. I thought I'd be used to it by now, but tonight... She trails off, her eyes drifting to the window where rain streaks the glass. Tonight I just wanted company. I nod, not sure what to say. Company's a simple word, but the way she says it feels like it carries more. I shift on the couch, closing the gap between us just a fraction. Not enough to be obvious, but enough to feel the air change. Well, I'm not exactly exciting company, I say, half joking. Just me, some bad TV, and Daniel's dying plants. She laughs, a low, warm sound that makes my stomach flip. You're selling yourself short, Ethan, she says, her eyes meeting mine. You're present. That's more than most people. Her words hit harder than they should. Present. I don't know why it feels like a compliment, but it does. I clear my throat, looking down at my bottle to avoid her gaze. You don't come by that often, I say, steering us back to safer ground. I mean, except for the plants. Daniel says you're keeping his jungle alive. She smiles, but it's softer now, almost sad. It's an excuse, she admits, her voice barely above a whisper. To check in. To feel like I'm still part of his life, even if he's all grown up. That's when the conversation shifts. She starts talking about her past, not in a rehearsed way, but like she's letting pieces slip out unguarded. She tells me she got married at 21, too young, too sure it was forever. I thought that's what you did, she says, her fingers tracing the rim of her bottle. You find someone, you build a life, you make it work. But it didn't. She divorced at 37 after years of feeling like she was playing a role wife mom, the one who held everything together. Being a mother, she says, her eyes distant, it's everything. But sometimes it's a way to stop being a woman. You forget who you are outside of it. I listen, really listen, because I've never heard her talk like this. She's not the polished Mrs. Walker who teases me about Daniel's eating habits. She's raw, vulnerable, like she's peeling back layers she usually keeps hidden. I find myself leaning forward, elbows on my knees, hanging on her words. Do you ever miss it? I ask, not even sure what I mean. Being that person? Before all the roles. She looks at me, her eyes sharp but soft, like she's seeing me for the first time. All the time, she says. But it's not gone. It's just buried. Sometimes I forget I'm still a person, not just someone's mom or someone's ex. Her voice cracks slightly and she laughs to cover it, taking a quick sip of cider. God, listen to me. I sound like I'm in therapy. You don't, I say too fast and her eyes flick to mine, surprised. I mean, it's real, what you're saying. I get it. I don't, not entirely, but I want to. I tell her about my own life bits and pieces I don't usually share, how I feel stuck sometimes, like I'm just going through the motions, work games, sleep, repeat, how I've dated here and there, but never found someone who makes me want to stop running on autopilot. It's like I'm waiting for something I say, but I don't know what. She nods like she's been there. That's the hardest part, she says. Waiting without knowing. But you're young, Ethan. You've got time to figure it out. Her words are kind, but there's a weight to them like she's speaking from a place I can't yet reach. The rain's heavier now, a low roar outside, and the room feels smaller, warmer. She shifts her knee, brushing the edge of the couch closer to me. I notice the way her fingers fidget with the bottle label, the way a strand of damp hair falls across her cheek. I don't move to brush it away, but I want to. We keep talking, the conversation weaving between light and heavy. She tells me about a trip she took in her 20s backpacking through Europe, wild and free before life got complicated. I tell her about the time Daniel and I got stuck at a music festival in the rain, laughing until we couldn't breathe. We don't mention Daniel now, though, and it feels deliberate, like we're carving out a space just for us. The cider's gone, the bottle's empty on the table, but neither of us suggests stopping. The silences between our words grow longer, not awkward, but charged like the air before a storm breaks. Her eyes linger on mine, and I feel it, the pull, the forbidden thing I'm not supposed to feel. She's Daniel's mom, my best friend's mom, but right now she's just her. The empty cider bottles sit on the coffee table, their labels peeling slightly from the condensation. The rain's a steady roar now, sealing us in this small, warm bubble of an apartment. The conversation has slowed our words, replaced by silences that feel heavier, more deliberate. Mrs. Walker's sitting closer now, not by much, but enough that I can feel the warmth of her presence, the faint scent of her perfume lingering despite the rain. I'm hyper-aware of everything, her fingers resting on the couch, the way her eyes catch the dim light from the TV still paused on that forgotten thriller. My heart's beating too fast, and I don't know if it's the cider or something else entirely. I stand to clear the bottles, needing to move to break the tension that's been building like static in the air. I'll just get these, I say, my voice rougher than I mean it to be. She nods, standing too, and follows me to the kitchen. The space is tiny, barely room for two people between the counter and the fridge. I set the bottles in the sink, my back to her, trying to focus on something mundane to keep my head straight. She's Daniel's mom, my best friend's mom. This isn't supposed to happen. But she's right there, close enough that I can hear her breathing. I turn to grab a towel from the counter, and she's standing in front of me, closer than she needs to be. The air feels thick, like it's holding its breath. I freeze my hand halfway to the towel and meet her eyes. They're steady and tense, not the tired or guarded look from earlier. There's something raw in them, something that makes my stomach twist and my pulse race. Neither of us speaks. The rain hammers outside, but in here it's just us, the world narrowing to this moment. She reaches out her fingers, brushing my hand light but deliberate. It's not a grab, not forceful, just enough to stop me. My breath catches and I look down at her hand, then back at her face. I don't want to be the adult tonight, she says, her voice low, almost a whisper, but every word lands like a stone in still water. Her eyes don't leave mine, and there's no mistaking what she means. Not just the words, but the weight behind them, the invitation, the risk. My mind's screaming at me, Daniel, the age gap, the line we're teetering on. This is wrong, isn't it? But my body doesn't move, doesn't pull away. I'm caught, torn between the guilt clawing at my chest and the pull of her gaze, her honesty. Are you sure? I ask, my voice barely audible, like I'm afraid of the answer. She tilts her head slightly, a faint smile tugging at her lips, but it's not playful. It's vulnerable, real. No, she says, her voice steady despite the admission. But for the first time, I don't want to be sure. Time slows. We're inches apart, her hand still on mine, warm and soft. The kitchen feels too small, the rain too loud, my heartbeat deafening. I think about stepping back, about saying something to break this, to make it safe again. But I don't. I can't. Her words echo in my head, not wanting to be the adult, not wanting to be sure. I see it in her eyes, the weight of years spent holding everything together, and for a moment I want to be the one who lets her let go. But I don't move forward either. No kiss, no touch beyond her hand on mine. It's just this, a long, electric look, a silent agreement that something's shifted, something we can't undo. My throat's tight, my thoughts a mess. Daniel's face flashes in my mind, and I feel a pang of guilt. but it's drowned out by the intensity of her gaze. I step back just an inch, breaking the contact, but the air's still heavy, the moment unfinished. I I start, but I don't know how to finish. She doesn't push, doesn't speak, just watches me, her expression unreadable but not cold. The rain keeps falling, and I wonder if we've just crossed a line or if we've only stood at its edge. The rain's gone by morning, leaving the apartment quiet, almost too still. I wake up on the couch, my neck stiff, a blanket draped over me that I don't remember grabbing. The TVs off, the cider bottles are gone from the sink, and the kitchen looks untouched, like last night was a dream. But it wasn't. My heart's still racing, replaying that moment in the kitchen, her hand on mine, her words. I don't want to be the adult tonight. I sit up, rubbing my eyes, and scan the room. She's not here. Mrs. Walker's gone. I don't know what I expected her in the kitchen making coffee, acting like nothing happened. The thought feels ridiculous. I check my phone, 7:43 a.m., no messages, no sign of Daniel coming back early, just silence. Then I see it on the coffee table, a small piece of paper folded once. I pick it up, my fingers unsteady. Her handwriting's neat, deliberate. Thanks for not making me feel guilty. Meet for breakfast sometime if you want, but not here. No signature, just a tiny doodle of a teacup with a smiley face. I read it twice, then tuck it into my pocket, not sure why it feels like a secret I need to keep. I lean back, staring at the ceiling. Last night keeps looping in my head. Her voice raw and honest, the way she looked at me like I was more than just Daniel's friend. I think about Daniel probably halfway through his conference, oblivious. Guilt twists in my gut, sharp and heavy. What was I doing standing that close, letting her hold my hand? But then I think about her words, her vulnerability, how she let me see a side of her she keeps hidden. It wasn't just attraction, it was something deeper. Something that made me feel alive in a way I haven't in a long time. I don't know what happens next. The note's an invitation maybe, but it's vague, careful, like she's leaving the choice to me. Part of me wants to text her to see if she meant it about breakfast, but I don't have her number, and even if I did, what would I say? Hey, thanks for last night. Let's grab pancakes and pretend I don't know your son. The thought makes me laugh, but it's a hollow sound. I can't tell Daniel, not now, maybe not ever. This is ours, a moment that doesn't belong to anyone else. I get up, make coffee, and try to shake the fog in my head. The note's still in my pocket, a quiet reminder of a line we didn't cross but came close to. I think about what she said about forgetting who she is, about wanting to feel like a person again. Maybe I needed that too, to feel something real, something that wasn't just routine. It's not about love or forever, it's about a night that reminded me I'm more than just a guy going through the motions. I don't know if I'll see her again, not like that. But I know I won't forget her words or the way they kept me awake wondering who I could be if I stopped playing it safe.